Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George, or all George. So, welcome to another market stream, and we are about to start the new market in red. We will see what's going on with Bitcoin today, and also why I think Bitcoin is set to reach 45,000 in May and end the year at a much higher price. So let's talk about all these things and more. And there we go. Market bell.
It's 8:30 a.m.
My bell is still working despite not changing the battery for like 3 or 4 years. So that's a good start. All right. So today, what's going on? Bitcoin is down a little bit. Okay, down 29,300. I see in the comments a lot of people wondering what's going on. Why is there a dumping? Well, to those people, I say, have patience. Have patience, my friends. Okay, nothing goes up forever linearly. And yes, we came back down a little bit, but that's okay. The U.S. market is looking red, though, today. That could be, that could have something to do with it, right? Even though Bitcoin has decoupled from the U.S. market, there's still going to be times where it's similar. Right now with the U.S. market, it's kind of wonky. No one really knows what Powell's going to do. There's still a lot of expectations. Oops, I didn't change my screen. Just yesterday I covered how Yellen thinks that maybe no more rate hikes are needed because banks are going to tighten. But there's others that think that Fed will continue forward. Take a look at this. So according to actually Bank of America, they believe in June we will top out. We'll have another 25 basis point hike in the U.S. And then the Fed is going to aggressively start cutting. That would be very interesting. Now, I don't know the exact reason why they think so. Maybe because they're predicting that the U.S. market will soften too much. The economic data and job reports and unemployment will come in bad. I don't know, but they are predicting that after the last rate hike, which is coming either next month or June, the Fed will start aggressively cutting back down to 3%. That would be wild. It makes one wonder, why would you increase only to just cut months later? Why would you just not increase now, right? So again, this is why the U.S. market is kind of wonky, because people are trying to predict what Powell is going to do. Is he going to stay being aggressive, hawkish, or dovish, right? We don't know. Maybe some of the earnings from this week will give a better picture. I know a couple big earnings are coming out. Netflix is reporting tomorrow. So whether or not people are signing up or canceling their Netflix may be an indication of how strong the economy is. Also, Tesla is releasing their earnings the day afterwards on Wednesday. Again, will Tesla do very well or poorly, or maybe just come in line with the expectation, right? But obviously Tesla, they get hammered by Wall Street. Even if they miss out on like 1,000 cars or something like that, I feel like Wall Street just likes to hammer them for no good reason. But maybe some of these earnings, along with more economic data, will shed a better picture of what the Fed is going to do and whether or not that true pivot is going to come as soon as June. And by the end of the year, we will hit 3.1%. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely nutty if the Fed did that, and we'll see. But as for Bitcoin, take a look at this chart, okay? Some of you guys may be wondering, why is Bitcoin going down today? Well, this is a really good explanation. So if you're looking at Bitcoin, you could see how it's forming lower lows and lower highs, right? And according to this, well, Bitcoin is set to drop even more, right? But you notice while it's doing this, it tends to go up and down, up and down. It doesn't go all the way, right? Right? What you may not see on screen right now is that this is an inverse chart, okay? So why I'm showing this is important because people generally, they believe when Bitcoin is going lower, there's a pattern that forms. They believe that it has to go lower for some reason. There's more people that believe that Bitcoin will go lower than higher according to charts. But when you have an inverse chart like this, it's pretty obvious, right? Like somehow the psychology of this changes. Like you look at it like this, you're like, oh man, Bitcoin has to be going down more, right? But the numbers are inverse. So actually, if you look at the top right-hand corner, that's actually when Bitcoin bottomed out around 16,000. And since then, yes, we have been forming this pattern, right? And this goes to show you that sometimes Bitcoin does come down. So for some of you guys, it's like, oh, it's over and Bitcoin's going under. Well, you know, just look at this, okay? Sometimes Bitcoin does come down. It takes a breather, it consolidates, and then it moves right back up. That's what I think is happening. This is just normal activity, okay? So nothing to be panicking over right now. But as for this 45,000 prediction in May, why do I and many others think that this is coming? Well, just look at it. This is our current movement from 2022, okay, versus the 2018 movement. And basically, if you lay them on top of each other, you see that we're basically mimicking, right, each other. So this is actually looking at the days from bottom leading up to roughly 198 days. That's when, from 2018 all the way to 2019, that's when Bitcoin topped out around 14,000, coming from a low of 3,000. Okay, so this is basically pinpointing the same thing. After 198 days, Bitcoin, this is roughly next month around May 20th, right? If you're looking at the same kind of growth from bottom to that peak, that kind of like pre-pump before the real pump happens, Bitcoin should be right around $45,000. Okay, this is just using simple calculation of how many days have passed. But of course, there's many other charts that measure other things that also say the same thing, basically, right? I've shown so many fractal patterns over the last, I don't know how many months, that indicate that Bitcoin, whether or not you're using Elliott waves or Fibonacci levels or moving averages or just other technical indicators, I've shown so many over the past few months that indicate that Bitcoin will be somewhere in the 40s to 50,000 range by the summer, right? Maybe not exactly in May, maybe June or July, but everything is pinpointing that is where we will end up. So today's insignificant downward movement is just that, insignificant, and you will not even remember in a few months from now. However, it gets better. What about end of the year? So now, according to blockchaincenter.net, their rainbow prediction, their rainbow chart, which I've seen before, it seems kind of silly, but it kind of measures out. The red is like the maximum bubble, the maximum FOMO. And then the blue is basically fire sale, maximum capitulation. Okay? And according to this, of course, by the end of the year, we could have max FOMO again, or max dumping once again. So what is it predicting? Well, if we get maximum FOMO, okay, max bubble territory, meaning Bitcoin is looking like it wants to come down urgently, Bitcoin will be somewhere between $151,000 to $200,000. Do I think we will see that by the end of the year? Probably not, although that's not out of the realm of possibility. People have predicted just recently that we can see a new high by the end of the year. Okay, so could happen. Then you have a little bit, a little less FOMO between 114,000 and 151,000, and then you have one that's between 88,000 and 114,000. You get the point, right? But let's say something disastrous happens, maximum capitulation, fire sale. If Bitcoin dips back down to the blue area, it would be somewhere between 16,000 and 21,000, which honestly wouldn't be all that bad, because that's basically bringing us back to where we were before, not making a new low. It wouldn't be optimal, right? Especially since now we're, right around $30,000 again, but still. And even if we just hover in the middle, okay, we're in the hodl stage, not even top or bottom, in the middle, in the yellow point, that would still put Bitcoin between $51,000 and $68,000. So even there, we would be pretty close to our previous high, and we enter 2024 getting ready to break it, right? So if you think about that, that's pretty phenomenal, according to this rainbow chart. But again, who knows? Who knows where Bitcoin will be at the end of the year? I do know this. I think it's going to be way higher, much higher than where it is now. So, and here's another one. Yeah, there's just so many. Like I said at the beginning, besides just counting days from our bottom, right, to the next halving cycle, but there are so many like this that's just measuring our movement versus previous cycles, and it just looks good. Just looks really good. No matter how you slice it, Bitcoin is recovering. Bitcoin is getting stronger. Alts are getting stronger as well, right? And the market is looking like it wants to pop, okay, as we head into 2024. And we're about halfway through 2023 already, which is crazy. We will be entering May in a couple of weeks, right? But like I said, it's not just Bitcoin right now. Ethereum is also moving higher, trying to catch up to Bitcoin's amazing performance in 2023. People are noticing there are giant whales right now staking their ETH. Okay, there's a lot of people that are now staking. I mean, there's a lot of withdrawals too, but there's still a lot of people staking. So it's not like everyone is unstaking and panic dumping their ETH. That's not what's happening right now, right? And that is why even Coinbase says that, the strong price action can continue, well, because Ethereum is so deflationary at this point, right? So why would it not continue? And today I noticed that Bitcoin dominance has come down in a big, big way. It was 46.2. It reached peak of 46.2. Today it's at 45.5. That's a huge drop with Bitcoin dominance, right? ETH dominance is climbing almost back up to 20%. And there are others that are gaining strength as well. So that could also explain why Bitcoin came down today, because people sold Bitcoin to buy some alts. That could be a good explanation. Now, outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, I did see a couple of good news, very good news. Number one is there are Congress people right now voting to kick Gary Gensler out for overreaching. I thought it was going to be Emmer, but this is no. Warren Davidson, he's proposing that they get rid of this position, okay? Replace the SEC chair with a executive director that reports to the board, okay? So you don't have just one person making all the rules up, because you have other SEC commissioners like Hester Pierce that reports to Gensler that totally disagrees with Gensler's decision. And when that comes out, people pays attention, right? Like there's something wrong. Who governs basically Gary Gensler at this point? It seems like no one, right? So that's why we have people coming out, Congress people that's proposing to just get rid of a SEC chair, right? Create a board and then have a director that reports to the board. So at least you have some consensus. You don't just have one man dictating what's a security, what's not, and driving innovation completely away from the U.S. So I'm glad to see there are some people that agree with this, right? Gary Gensler is just making up as he goes along, right? Looking at these cases, he really has no, I don't know. He has his own agenda. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so we'll see if Gary Gensler survives the year. I would not be surprised if he's replaced later this year because, first of all, he didn't protect anyone from the downfalls, right? He went after FTX after the fact, so like he didn't really protect anyone. And now he's just trying to hammer on everything else, trying to declare Ethereum as security, trying to declare any project on top of Ethereum chain as a security, trying to declare Ripple as a security, trying to basically say anything is a security out there, right? Driving innovation away. And that is why I believe China, through Hong Kong, is trying to become the new hub, the new crypto and Web3 hub, because now they're onboarding crypto companies. Okay, they're trying to get all the companies to move to Hong Kong. They're bringing favorable legislation, not ones that will cripple crypto. Okay, so that's exactly what's happening right now, and I hate to see that happen. But there are a lot of projects in the United States that just don't know what to do about the SEC. So hopefully Gary Gensler gets kicked out in the near future, and that would be absolutely fantastic. And then we'll get things like spot Bitcoin ETFs, which we have longed for a long time. Institutions have longed for, right? That may finally come, and we could finally move past the Ripple lawsuit, which I believe Ripple is going to win anyways, but hopefully we can move past that as well, and a dozen other cases that the SEC is looking at. All right, that is pretty much it. Let's see the market, U.S. market. NASDAQ still red. Looks like they want to flip. I mean, yes, an overall market looks like want to flip. I think Bitcoin, this is just a nothing burger, basically. This is just a blip in the road, and Bitcoin will continue forward and higher. It's just a matter of having patience and waiting it out. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see. Scrolling. Shannon says, anyone in crypto should be optimistic, otherwise why bother? That's true. That is true. If you're in crypto and you're pessimistic all the time, like why are you in this space, right? That's why I don't get this narrative of these perma bears. It's like, what's the point, right? And these well-known people like Peter Schiff, you know, if you don't like Bitcoin, why do you keep talking about it? You know, so that's the thing. It's kind of weird. Let's see. I think you gave up on Harmony too soon. Big mistake. It's not a mistake. People could be pumping it. That doesn't mean fundamentally they're a good project. I talked to DeFi Kingdoms. Okay. I know exactly what went on, and it wasn't good. And they're not the only project that Harmony screwed. Okay, they promised huge grants and did not give them out. I mean, that's just backtracking what, you know, if you can't trust the project, you know, why would you stay on? So this whole thing with the hack too, still not resolved. They could be pumping. They could be pumping up to top 10, but doesn't mean fundamentally that they are fixed and whether you should still trust them, right? So that's why. Carl. Be careful. Be careful. Just remember what has happened before could certainly repeat again. Yeah, as for my land situation or my broker situation, I'll have another follow-up video for that. There's more to the story, and I'll explain why I haven't taken action yet, but I plan on to after the home is built. But I'll have another follow-up with that. Why is John is asking, why is FTT pumping? Because there may be a chance that FTX comes back. Supposedly, according to lawyers, they recover 7.9 billion of their assets, and they feel like they have enough to just reopen. Maybe they just misplaced it. I don't know. Or maybe the assets went up because of everything that has occurred in 2023. I don't know. So that's why people are buying up FTT again. Gata Life, you mentioned creating more connections in crypto. How's that going? It's going good. Since I got back from LA, it's only been like 2-3 weeks, right? I formed a lot of connections, talked to a lot of projects, way more than I've ever. I put more effort, let's just say, within the last 2-3 weeks than I have in probably the last 3 or 4 years. So it's good. It's good. And this week I will be announcing, by the way, I just announced it now, the new show that I'm proposing is going to be called FOMO or Pass. And I already created a nice thumbnail for it. So basically, starting this week, maybe even as soon as today, I will tweet that out. And if you guys want to suggest projects to apply, please do so. So the premise is every week we will have projects apply. We will select one, and whoever we select will be on the show. They will get to pitch us for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we will hammer them on questions, right? And then at the end, we will decide whether or not we think it's a good project or not. And when I say we, it's between me and Brian Evans. So we really like this idea, and I really want to push this forward. So later today, when I tweet this out, make sure you guys recommend projects. You can't recommend projects for people. I want the projects themselves to reach out. So these have to be early stage projects probably under either no tokens yet or under 50 million. So basically really new upcoming projects, right? So that's another idea that's coming, and also part of that connection process too, because I love to get involved with some of these really early stage projects. So that's also part of that. Orange Lambo, I have no idea. I've heard of it before. I never really paid attention to the rainbow chart. I like to go to your meetup in Miami, but no one's selling an NFT. Can I still go? No, yeah. It's not. First of all, I'm still selling I Am George NFTs. That's still available, I think. Oh, maybe it's not. I may kick that up again because I still have a couple hundred I haven't sold yet. And it would be a draw too, because not everyone that's a holder can go. Just so you know, it's not gonna be everyone, but I will hold some kind of draw for that. But thanks for reminding me. I would say drop the pass, go with FOMO. Yeah, I was just going to call the show FOMO, but, you know, it makes more sense if it's FOMO or pass. So hopefully. I know I've talked to a couple projects that are about to release their tokens, so they're obviously very early. And I've been impressed with what these projects have said to me. So I know that there's a lot of projects in the works that are very promising, created by really good people. And this next bull run is going to bring an amazing amount of creators and developers and builders into this space. It's going to be amazing. FOMO or NOMO? That's actually pretty cool. NOMO. NASDAQ wants to turn green. I know the Bitcoin-related stocks today are getting hammered. MicroStrategy down 4%, Mara down 7%, Coinbase down 6%. You know, like, if you want a multiplier play, like a leverage play of Bitcoin, these like stocks are basically it. You know, when Bitcoin goes down like 3%, you got MicroStrategy and Coinbase and Mara down 7%, like double or triple. I mean, seriously, Bitcoin related stocks are like leverage plays for Bitcoin at this point. It's wild. And then, of course, when Bitcoin has a green day, they could go up 20%, 20% very easily. Miguel, I don't know too much about Metascapes by Vulcanford, so I can't really talk about it. Is the risk, the Hunt asks, hi George, is the risk of GBDC in a Roth IRA with no tax in the future worth it? Or is buying and holding in cold storage but paying taxes on gains decades from now better? Well, with their IRA, you still have to pay tax. You either pay upfront or you delay it. Regardless, you're still subject to tax. GBDC is not as good as Bitcoin. I mean, I'll just put that out there. It's a synthetic version, basically. And who knows what's going to happen if it gets converted to a Bitcoin ETF. You know, there's always fees that they take, so it's not going to be true one-to-one, especially over the years. Those fees add up, right? I still believe holding Bitcoin is better than GBDC. And plus, don't forget the whole decentralization thing. One, you get to control and hold. Another is being held for you. Any chance that Phantom enters top 10? There's always a chance. There's always a chance. And I do like Phantom quite a lot. But there are a lot of competition out there. You know, those layer 2s are creeping up more and more, right? So Phantom's at sitting number 2. Can they go higher? Yes. Top 10 is going to be hard. I'm just going to say that. It's going to be hard. I mean, you have to basically, with IRAs, you either pay up front because you're paying your income tax and then using whatever left to put in your IRA, or it's pre-income tax, right? So that you're paying that later, the CHUD. So either way, you're paying something. You're paying tax one way or another. So you decide whether or not right now is better or later. Because you may be thinking, okay, you know, if I defer the tax and wait until later, it's better because whatever, I don't have to pay taxes now. But you may be much wealthier then. So when you withdraw, you're being taxed on the rate of your withdrawals. So it's not like you're really hiding it at all. There's a lot of people that's calling for a sell in May and go away. This notion that May is going to be really, really bad. You know, I don't pay any attention to that kind of nonsense. Okay? Things work until they don't. You know, that's what I always say about TA, right? Charts work until they don't. It's the same thing. These patterns, these trends, yeah, maybe if for a few seasons it has been true. Other seasons, absolutely false. And this year is it's not the same as before. Very different. Very, very different. Okay, so I just don't put any weight to it. That's it. If it falls, okay. If it doesn't, okay. Okay? It doesn't really matter because I focus on the long run, the future. Okay? And the future shows Bitcoin is going to go much, much higher. Much higher. 45,000 in May, possibly 151,000 by December. Okay, that's what I'm focused on. Why is Matic lagging? That's a good question, Peter. I actually want to know that myself. I don't know why Matic is actually so stagnant. You know, I'm a big Matic guy. I love Matic. Don't know why recently they're stagnant. Maybe a lot of money is going into Arbitrum. You know, Arbitrum is actually doing really well, right? Maybe that's the reason why, but I have big hopes for ZK EVM and everything else that's being built on Polygon. They want to move into gaming in a big way too. There's a lot of stuff happening. Your thoughts on Hellcats no longer produced? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. All these guys are moving to EVs, unfortunately. Nothing will ever replace a throaty V8 sound. Okay? I will stay with my thesis that EVs are just damn boring. Okay? If you're a car enthusiast, you're not going to like EV cars. They're great for daily commuters, getting you from point A to point B. And I will say the new Tesla FSD on the highway is pretty amazing. It could do lane changes like a human now, like auto lane changes like a human without you intervening. Technology on the EV cars are absolutely amazing. But if you want to go for a weekend drive, EVs do not provide any satisfaction. So hopefully, once all the cars move to EV, that there will still be some performance muscle car EV, which I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but we'll see. Dodge is trying to make it possible, but I don't know. It's just not going to be the same. Brent, I feel like Matic is lagging because money is flowing to Arbitrum Optimism. I think so. I think that's a good theory. I would say the same thing. I mean, Polygon is still holding a top 10, so they're not dropping off or anything. But I think there's a lot of money being transferred into Arbitrum Optimism and ZK Sync, all the other L2s out there. I think that could be what's happening. Wow, Doge is up again today. Solana's up. I'll answer your first part. Congratulations. Congratulations. Keep on stacking more sats. Diro? Never heard of Diro before. Okay. Don't know anything about this project. 100 million? Okay, another L1. Helps stat makers get involved easier. Proof of work mining. Looks decent. Looks decent. Also privacy features. Looks decent. Not many coins these days are proof of work, but trading volume, 24-hour trading volume is dirt low. So there's really no one buying this right now. Only on one big major exchange, KuCoin. So that will probably hold them back. Could be decent, but no one's paying attention to them. Do you consider owning GBTC as owning Bitcoin in terms of one coiner perspective? If you really can't buy Bitcoin, I guess it's the next best thing. Okay, but it's still not the same. It's not the same. And I could go into it a lot more, but it's not the same. But if you have it, then great. Yes, you could look at it from a price appreciation standpoint. I guess it's very similar, but still, it's not gonna be as good as Bitcoin itself. All right, guys, that is it. Last question, OG. I feel like the whales are trying to bring ADA to $1 like they did with Matic. The pattern looks similar. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure. Cardano will get back to $1. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if it's following the same pattern Matic. Cardano is just slower moving, and they have always been like that, but they're still climbing. They're at number 7. And there's a lot of faith in Charles, and there's just a lot of loyalists. So Cardano is not going to go away. All right, so to conclude today, what's going on? Bitcoin, why did it fall? Well, maybe because it's following this pattern, okay? But this is the inverse pattern, just so you know. But this kind of shows you when everyone is out there panicking, trying to spread fear, just remember this. Bitcoin is doing what it always has, and there will be volatility. There will be some up and downs, but overall, why we're in it is because of this, and more importantly, this. A lot higher levels for Bitcoin are coming. So stay strong, my friends, and I'll see you guys tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.